everyone, welcome back. It's Georgia from Georgia's Shenanigans. Today I'm going to make a necklace and I'm going to show you how to finish it using French wire, and I'm also going to use my magical crimping tool. A lot of people have problems with these tools and I can understand why. I've had my own problems with it, but I'm going to show you how to use that. So the tools you're going to need is your crimping tool, a pair of cutters, a couple of pairs of pliers, just for finishing off, a couple of bead stoppers. These little things are great. Stick them on the end of your stringing material and nothing's going to fall off the end. And they're really, really cheap. They're, you know, like $1 each. So today I'm using 0.45mm tiger tail wire, stainless steel wire. It's just stainless steel with like a nylon coating on it. It's great for necklaces and bracelets. I've got a mixture of beads here. I've got some turquoise in 10, 8, and actually they're 8, 6 and 4, sorry. Then I've got some abacus shaped turquoise as well. I've got 4 oddly shaped hematites, and I've got a bunch of 6mm obsidian beads and some stainless steel balls and some little stainless steel daisy spacers. You're going to need your crimp. You're going to need your clasp, some crimps, some French wire, a couple of jump rings and a little ring to finish it off. So to begin, my pattern, I've kind of got it worked out in my head how I want it to be. And it's going to start with, I need to put my glasses on. It's going to start with 6 of these. So what I might do is just string these beads and come back when I've got them all on the wire. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've strung the beads on. Now the beads measure about 58 centimetres, so it's going to be another 1.5 centimetres, 2 centimetres for the clasp and the jump rings and things. Be about 2 centimetres. So that'll make a 60 centimetre necklace. I've cut about 70 centimetres of wire for this. So what I've done, I've got 6 obsidians, a little stainless steel ball, 8 little abacus, another ball, another 6 of those, abacus, 3 obsidians, a hematite. Then with the turquoise I've gone, you can see, from smallest to biggest, back to smallest, another ball, and it's pretty much a repeat of that. So if you have a look, we've got this set of turquoise at the bottom, and then all the rest are just mirrored on each side. So that was my idea of a decent design. I kind of get a design in my head and then I'll buy the beads to make it, and then by the time I get the beads I've either forgotten about it or I've gone off that design or whatever. But in this case I actually kept the design in my head and this is how it turned out. So the next thing is to start crimping off your ends. So I'm just going to move this up a little bit, give myself a bit of room on this end. This end's always the easy end. So take off my bead stopper, pop a crimp on, some French wire. Now if you don't know what French wire is, it's kind of like a spring, and it's so fine and it's so delicate. You've just got to be careful when you're handling it. I've got about 1 centimetre on the wire here. This is 1mm French wire. So I'm just feeding the wire back through my crimp. Move your French wire up sort of near the top of your loop. I know it's a bit hard for you to see what I'm actually doing, but I'll do the best I can. So now you want to pull that up to the French wire like that. Make sure your wires aren't crossed over. Grab your trusty crimping tool and start crimping. Just have to be very gentle and very careful to begin until your crimp starts forming a little bead. Now I find these crimping tools, like the end result is really good because you just have a nice little sort of silver ball or whatever colour crimp you're using. But the actual process of getting that on there, I find it's really quite tedious, and often it doesn't work. You've got to start again. But just be patient, keep going around with your tool until it crimps. And of course you've got to be careful that you don't catch your French wire in there. So, you know, you might have to crimp sort of 20 or 30 times. And I might add, I'm not using the crimps that are meant for the magical crimper. These are just little stainless steel 2mm crimps. So that looks pretty good. Give it a pull and it's crimped, so that's good. So you've got what ends up looking like that. Hope you can see that. Now you want to feed some beads, and this is going to be difficult because these, oh, it's not too bad. These obsidian beads have got really small holes. So you just want to go back, you know, 2 or 3 of your beads, whatever. Bring the rest of your beads up. Now I always coil my piece around because otherwise you may end up with it being too tight. So, and if it's too tight, it's not comfortable to wear, it doesn't look nice. It's puts more stress on your beads. It's just really not good if you crimp off too tight. Now this side is a little trickier. So we put our crimp on and we put our French wire on. So that just sits on your wire. French wire can be quite expensive, depending on where you buy it. I think I paid about $15 for about 20 centimetres of it. It's not cheap, and well, that's in Australia anyway, it's not cheap. And it can be a little bit hard to come by. You can usually buy the 2mm pretty easily. You find it everywhere, but the 1mm is sometimes a bit hard to get. Now this bead here, the hole's too small for it to go through, like 2 strands to go through that bead. So I'm just going to put it through 2 beads. 2 beads is fine. Some people don't put their wire back through their beads. I always do. I don't know, maybe it makes no difference, but it makes me feel better knowing that I'm not crimped off right at the crimp, like cut off right at the crimp. Now this side's a little bit trickier, as I said. So just start off very gently with your crimp. if you just smush it, it'll not only be the wrong shape and it won't turn out to be round, often your crimp ends up breaking. So I just find if you're nice and patient, get it going the way you want it to go, and then start crimping it a little bit tighter, like a little bit harder. But, you know, like I said, sometimes you've got to go around it sort of 20 or 30 times. But don't give up. As long as your crimp doesn't break, you're doing well. But I find that the stainless steel crimps work better with the magical crimper, and if your wire is a little bit thicker. I'm using 0.45. Normally I would use 0.38 on a necklace, but I find that the 0.45 is actually a bit of a sweet spot for the crimper. Just keep going around, be good and patient. So now we can cut off that tail. These wire cutters are actually pretty large. Okay, so it coils nicely. It's finished off on the ends, and that looks so much nicer than a crimp cover and a wire guardian. Got a tiny little bit of French wire sticking out on there, but I'll fix that in a minute. Okay, so now what we want to do, so this necklace is reversible, so it doesn't matter which side you put your clasp on. I generally tend to not worry too much about that, which side I put the clasp on. It depends, you know, if you're left-handed or right-handed, and whoever ends, unless you're making the necklace for yourself, if you're going to sell it, like, you don't know if they're going to be left-handed or right-handed, so, you know, I don't usually worry too much about it. And, you know, oftentimes too, you'll find that the necklace can actually go over the head. They don't need a clasp. Okay, so we're just popping our jump ring on the end of our beads, and our clasp is on there as well. Now I'm using these oval jump rings. A lot of people have said to me, oh, I've never even heard of oval jump rings, but they're stronger than round jump rings because of the shape, and because the opening of the jump ring is at the side rather than where the pressure points are. They're much, much stronger. So that's our clasp. So now we're going to open up this one. These jump rings, I think they're 8mm. I don't know, I've had them for a long time. So I'm going to pop my ring on the jump ring and the other end of my beads. Close up your jump ring. It's nice when they click like that. Make sure it's nicely closed. One thing I didn't check was that my clasp works, and it does, thank goodness. So you can see that actually adds quite a bit of length to your necklace. But anyway, that is how to make a necklace with nothing but beads, and finish it off with some French wire, or some people call it gimp wire, some people call it dumb wire. Call it whatever you like. I think the most common name is gimp wire, followed by French wire, and it's so much nicer than wire guardians. And the magical crimper, like I said, don't give up. Get yourself some stainless steel crimps and just be gentle. Gently squeeze it until it's starting to go into the shape that you want, and then you can start squeezing harder. Because if you just squeeze it hard on first squeeze, number one, you'll probably break your crimp, and secondly, it'll kind of flatten it too much, and then trying to squeeze it back in, the sides back in to make it round, it just wrecks your crimp, and yeah, it doesn't turn out good at all. Usually your crimp will break if you do that. So yeah, that's why I always start off nice and gentle and then give it a good squeeze once it's doing what it's supposed to do. So anyway, that's our video for today. Sorry I've been away for a couple of weeks. I just needed a bit of a break over Christmas, because I don't just do this, I work full-time as well. I'm actually a manager in a company, and it takes a lot of time and effort to do the jewellery as well as working full-time. But that's my life. I chose it. I like it. So anyway, I hope everyone has a great week, and I'll see you soon. Thanks very much.